Welcome to your journey of healing with the Healing Podcast, hosted by licensed clinician Monique Owe and co-host Dr. Amber Mohn.
Thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. I am your host, Monique Owe, and I am joined by my lovely co-host here,
Dr. Amber Mohn.
Okay, so today's topic is my spouse or partner cheated. Now what do I do? Well, so genuinely, of course, we know if you're in a situation where your spouse or your partner cheated, of course, you're definitely hurt, upset about it, maybe frustrated, angry, but now you want to know what are some things you can do. So, one, I am going to start and say, cheated, it's a genuine definition. It's an obvious definition, I think. I don't think I have to go into an actual definition from the dictionary. But what I can say is sometimes it's subjective because what one person may feel is cheating, another person may not. Some people feel like until a physical act occurs, it's not cheating. Other people may feel like, no, the moment you emotionally did something, started texting or meeting someone just at least in person for a conversation, that might be cheating. So I'm just going to say anytime you went outside of the relationship, outside of the person you're committed to do something, some type of romantic flirtation or gesture, that probably is a form of cheating, right? And if you got to the point where it's an actual physical act, even a physical act of intimacy, then yes, you have cheated. And the person is now, you're trying to figure out, what do you do now that you have been cheated? Their partner has cheated. What do you do? Well, Dr. Mohn, if I can ask you, first, what are some feelings the person may feel? If their spouse or partner cheated, how is that other person feeling?
Betrayed, hurt, upset. Yeah.
Definitely. I would probably also say their self-esteem is probably affected because you're always trying to figure out, okay, why did it happen? Why is it not me? Why was it them? What did that person give you that I didn't? Why did you have to do it, right? So you're going, all those things are going through your head. And now you're trying to figure out, well, what do I do now? Do they stay or do they go, Dr. Mohn?
This is this individual basis. Everybody is different. And cheating is so broad, Monique. It could be an emotional affair where you guys are just on the phone talking. Some people would be like, okay, there was no physical. We can work through this. And then it could be, someone with a sex addiction and that is doing it, all the time. And so it's really up to that person on what they feel like they can forgive and move past.
Okay. So, definitely it is on an individual basis. I think, the issue is here again. Some people may feel that the emotional cheating is more severe than the physical act because emotionally you had to get a connection with that person. And now you have shared intimate details, even about yourself, maybe not about your spouse, but self with another person, right? So some people put more weight, Dr. Mohn, would you say, on the emotional affair?
Yes.
Versus the physical act. Sometimes. Some people don't. But again, so basically you're saying individual basis.
Yes.
It's up to you. It's up to the couple. If you want to stay, you work on staying. If you want to go, you work on your exit. But the problem is, Dr. Mo, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, would you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Like some complications are the finances, right?
Yes.
We know if you're married, somehow your finances are intertwined, somehow. Even if you have separate accounts, but you live in one house. So your finances are intertwined because maybe even if one person pays the mortgage, the other one may pay the utilities. Or even if you both share 50-50. Or even if the one person is the provider. Let's say this one person, I'm the sole provider. Let's say the husband is the sole provider and the wife does not work. Now, if it's the husband that cheated and the wife wants to leave, she has to consider, what's my life going to look like now, right? Because you're used to maybe have a comfortable life. If it was the wife that cheated and the husband is the provider, and he said, I want you to go, I'm leaving, she again has to consider, how am I going to take care of myself, right?
Yeah.
The other part is, what if one is a good caretaker for you? Maybe one has a disability and the spouse is, maybe they're not to the point where they're bedridden, but if they have an illness or something, need help to get around, maybe they can no longer work. So maybe they have a back injury, so they can no longer work. So they are on disability. They do get a monthly check from Social Security, maybe even early retirement check. But now if you leave, I can't solely live off of my retirement check or my disability check. So now, again, finances or your help. I need help maneuvering just a bit because of my disability, right? So those things play a factor, Dr. Mohn. So I guess in this case, if they want to go, what does that look like, Dr. Mohn? What would a person have to do if they want to go? Like, what would they have to consider, and then what would they have to do?
When we're talking in regards to finances or
right,
just...
or even themselves, what would they have to do if they decide they want to go?
Well, marriage is not just, it's a partnership. And so my thing is, maybe sitting down with, your partner and saying, look, this is not going to work. I cannot move past the cheating. However, that, with what I have, coming in is financially, I can't maintain. So then trying to figure that out, I guess, without bringing the courts involved, because, it gets to that. But
can settle it.
Try to see, like, how can we still be partners? Especially if you have kids involved or if you, have property involved. Like, how can we do this amicably that, when we're both going to be okay? So that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, definitely. I think you do have to look at what's going on. What do you do now, again, to go with that? I mean, first I would say identify, of course, are you hurt about it? Are you angry? Did you kind of expect it to happen? Because maybe you do know there was an issue in your marriage. Maybe you know that the intimacy has not been there. And you knew it was probably bound to happen where one of you was probably going to step outside. So you may want to first look into the situation. Okay, what do I do now? Well, first look at the situation. Someone cheated. So let's look at reality. And then I would say look into, okay, why? Do you want to have a discussion? I would say it's always probably worth therapy at least. If you haven't tried therapy, just discuss how did this cheating get here? Was there a door opened or cracked for this to potentially happen? No, the person should not have gone outside of the marriage because it takes a lot of energy to cheat, Dr. Mohn. You got to sneak. I got to text. You got to lie. I got a connection with somebody. Cool. But now I got to hide my text messaging. I got to lie about my whereabouts. I have to plan a meetup. Either if I'm bringing the person into your home, then I got to plan a time when the spouse is not there. Or if I'm going outside the home, I got to book a room or a place or go to their space and still, again, lie to my spouse about where I am, right? So it's a lot of energy that goes into the cheating. So I would identify, like Dr. Mohn said, is your spouse a repeat offender that constantly keeps doing, or is this a one-time thing that happened and you guys knew you guys had issues? You guys knew there were issues there. You weren't communicating. You were not intimate. It's been a gap there for a while. So it was like the doorway was there for one of you to maybe step out, and then someone just actually did it. So first I would say, so look at your situation, and what do you do now is decide first, what do you want to stay or do you want to go? Well, we're going to discuss both. Dr. Mohn said about leaving. I asked her about if you leave, what you have to do. Of course, the courts can decide, right? But if you want to stay, I think you got to go to therapy first, right? You're going to have to do that. Well, first, before leaving the therapy, communicate with your spouse. At least do that. Find out why it happened. Be receptive to the fact that there are issues. Don't get on the defensive so much. Respect that the fact there may have been issues there. But anyway, before we go into all of that, healing tips and why it may have happened, I'm going to do a segue here. We're going to go into, you guessed it, our situation for today. So, Dr. Mohn, what is our situation?
All right. Thank you, Monique. So here is our situation. Dear Healing Podcast, my life is not quite where I thought it would be. I'm in my 30s. I have a pretty good job, but it is not necessarily in line with the career or my field of study. I had to take the job because I needed a job to pay my bills. The issue is I don't feel as though I have things that I really want out of life. For example, I'm not married. I don't have children. I do not own my own home. I'm actually not even in a relationship. When I look around me, it seems like my friends and close family are moving forward in life and are getting the things that they want, and I'm just stuck. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy for others and what they have accomplished, but I am wondering, when will it be my time? Can you help me find a better outlook on my life/situation? So thank you so much for writing in. This is a good question, something that I see a lot. And you know what? Every day that you have breath in your lungs is a new opportunity to do things better and do things different. So let me tell you, just because you're in your 30s, it's never too late to get on track if you feel like you're off track. So look, it sounds to me like you need to get a vision board or get a pen and pad and start writing your goals down. You said field of study, so I'm guessing that you have a degree. So this is simple. you might want to just start looking at careers in your field and trying to see what they make and what it's going to take to, get into that, that type of job. It might require more education or maybe not. So, start, looking at that when it comes to your career. As far as, your I guess your relationship, and children. Well, you know what? Let me go back to owning a home. So that kind of falls in line with, bringing in money, more money, and, being in a career that's going to help, you to be able to pay for a home that you would like. So my thing is what is it going to take for you to buy a home now? Have you checked interest rates? Have you, is your credit on track? These are things that you can be working on while you're trying to figure out a job that you would be comfortable and a job that you want. So those kind of go together. Now going back to the relationship and children and marriage. Listen, it is getting ready to be the summer. And so what do they say? Everybody's outside. So my suggestion to you is if you're in Georgia, it's nice. The weather is starting to change. I suggest you get outside. And if that's something that if you're not doing that, if you are, let's see what the dating scene is like. There's online dating, there's speed dating. There's so many things going out. Get social. That's what I would suggest. So like I said, it's never too late. You are fine. Just, kind of reset your goals. Make new goals. Let's just say that. Get a vision board and let's get to work. Monique?
Well, thank you, Dr. Mohn, for your input, and thank you to the listener for writing into the Healing Podcast. And, I do love what Dr. Mohn said about getting a vision board. That is a wonderful step to make. I am going to second the fact that your age does not matter. It's never too late to start over. As long as you have breath in your body, you keep going. What I'm going to say is don't compare your life to others and looking at other people's lives thinking that you have less because you see it appears other people are doing better. One, everybody has their path, right? Everybody has their situation or whatever's going on in their life. So just because things look a certain way, you don't know what the person is going through. But let's say their life is wonderful. That's great. You can have a wonderful life as well. So don't compare. 1, 2, give yourself some credit for what you did do. You said you're not in your field, so like Dr. Mohn said, you must have finished school. Give yourself credit for that. Give yourself credit for realizing, even though you couldn't find a job in your field, you did realize, I got to get a job, so you went ahead to do something to pay your bills. You know what? Property is going to be there. You can always get property whenever you want. So what I am going to say is give yourself some grace a little bit. Recognize what you have done in life. Yes, like Dr. Mohn said, get outside. If you want to meet somebody, you do got to go somewhere where you can meet somebody. Now, I'm not saying that a miracle can't happen. Yes, maybe the Amazon delivery person can come to your door and you meet them and you guys connect. Not saying that can't happen. People have met people in other situations as well. But go out. Go to your favorite place. Go out to a coffee shop. Go out to a Starbucks and sit there. Just sit there. Don't just run in and grab the coffee to go sit there. Go to a bookstore and read. Go to a park and just sit there. Go to a festival and, just meet people. Just be there. Just be you. Enjoy the vibe. And next thing you know, you'll start to attract certain people and meet people. And then next thing you know, you might be in a committed relationship. And yes, online dating works too. There are many successful marriages that come from online dating. So give yourself some grace. Don't compare. Give yourself credit for what you have accomplished and that you are still maintaining life and that you are looking forward to some things. It is never too late to start and to get what you want. So I hope that is helpful. Thank you for writing into the Healing Podcast. And for those who are listeners, we have to give a credit to our sponsor, and that is healingexpressionsllc.com. If you're looking for therapeutic services, please go to healingexpressionsllc.com and see if you can book a therapeutic session on there. Thank you for that. And thank you for your support. So back to our topic at hand. My spouse partner cheated. Now what do I do? Well, like we were saying before the break, what the situation is, you definitely have to first look and see what happened, right? Okay, somebody cheated. Cool. Now what? Look at your circumstance. Do you want to try to make it work? Do you not? But I guess, Dr. Mohn, if I can go into really quick, if you're thinking about staying, then let's look into the cause of why it may have happened so that you can kind of fix the issue. Dr. Mohn, if I can ask, what are some reasons people may cheat?
That's a good question. Some people may cheat to get attention. Maybe they're not, getting the amount of attention at home that they would like to have. Some people cheat because they want to leave anyway. And sometimes they, if I get caught, then here we go. Revenge, depression. And then sometimes it could just, can be a compulsion. So, and that's just a few. There's so many other reasons why people cheat, Monique.
Yes, that is true. So whatever the reason is that your spouse has cheated, now we're trying to fix it. So now that you've identified the issue, was the issue, is it true? Is what they said to you, yeah, it's true, it's really been going on, and now you want to fix it. Do you guys both agree that you want to fix it? That you guys both want to either go to therapy or some type of relationship coach to get back on track, right? So if you are going to agree to stay, what do you do now? Well, you're going to have to work on how you're going to forgive this person so that you don't start to develop resentment toward them, right? So work on how you can forgive them. You probably are going to need to do some self-work for that. You're probably going to need to do your own therapy to work on forgiving them, right? Try to change the circumstance. Whatever the reason was that caused the cheating, try to change that. Did your spouse feel like you were neglecting them? Did your spouse feel like you let yourself go? Do you need to get back into the gym or some type of workout program or eat better to maintain your own health reasons to get yourself back healthy? If your spouse was overwhelmed with always being there for you because maybe you are, like I said, maybe you're ill, maybe you have a disability and you just need some help, is there a way that you can have someone else help you just a little bit to alleviate the strain on your spouse? Is there something that you can do? Is there something you go to the doctor? If there was an intimacy issue and that's what's been happening and that's why your spouse felt like you're not trying to fix that issue as to you not having enough libido or not wanting to do anything physically, go to your doctor and find out what's going on in my body so I can maybe want to do those things with your spouse, because you should want to be with your spouse, right? Be willing to look into the issue, because if you don't fix it, it's just a recipe for disaster. It can potentially happen again, or you could potentially lose your spouse. So what I am going to say, if you decide to stay, have your spouse fix the issue that happened. Like if it's a medical issue, you got to try to get them to go to the doctor. If it's a you issue that caused it, they're saying per se, because your communication, well, you need to work on maybe why you're not communicating effectively in the way your spouse wants. The other thing you can do, Dr. Mohn, let me throw it back to you if I can ask, what is something else that someone can do if they decide to stay? So if the decision is to stay, what is something else they can do to help them stay?
Well, you said the most important, Monique, is, work on yourself and, probably get with, a therapist, do some type of, couples counseling. Because one thing I will say is that, and you probably see it a lot, is one will say they forgive you, but then throw it in your face, about what you did, every chance they get. And so really working on actually, if you're going to stay, if you want to work on your marriage, actually doing that and doing your best to try and forgive this person, because, it's important. So, you pretty much said, the good, gave good tips on, how to work on your marriage if you're going to stay.
Right. I think so. I think here's the thing. You got to let pride go too. I'm going to say, Dr. Mohn, because look, if you agree to stay, you're agreeing to forgive the person and to work going forward, right? If you are not there and this issue is going to be one where you're going to keep bringing it up or you're not going to be able to move forward and forgive them, then you may need to consider, is separation an option? Because you can't forgive them. I'm not saying you have to get a divorce, but you may need to ask yourself, do I need to take a step back because I'm just still angry about what happened, right? But the pride has to go, because if they do highlight an issue, the therapist or your spouse, this is what made me cheat, and you don't want to accept that issue, well, that is a problem. That's a you thing. You got to accept that, because even in a new marriage or new relationship, that issue is going to be there. You have to check that behavior, right, Dr. Mohn?
Yes.
Be willing to be vulnerable in therapy. Be honest about how you feel as well, so your spouse knows how that made you feel with cheating. Be hopeful that things can be new. This can have a whole newfound vibe and aura for your relationship. So be hopeful. Look into other people that you admire, other couples other coaches who have maybe a marriage that are a healthy marriage that you like. They're healthy tips, and find out what they do. Have date nights and things like that, and fun trips together. Maybe you guys need a trip, right, Dr. Mohn? Maybe they need a trip together, just them, because if they have children, the children sometimes may take away from their attention on each other. So maybe they need to do a trip, right, Dr. Mohn, with just each other?
Yes.
Okay. Be creative. Have fun. Do different things like that if you're going to stay. Dr. Mohn, now let me go back to, if they decide to leave, what do you do now? So Dr. Mohn said, remember, this is a personal choice. It's going to be up to you. Neither Dr. Mohn or I can tell you, go ahead and go.
Right.
That is for you to judge. But what I am going to say, though, if this is a repeat thing, a repeat offense, you have to ask yourself, is this what you should be receiving? If it's a repeat offense, okay? A one-time thing, personally, this is my personal opinion. I don't know if a one-time thing is worth a divorce, because I would more so look into why it happened, Dr. Mohn.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a personal thing. I don't know if you agree with that, Dr. Mohn, or not. You know, some people are like, one time and I'm done,
Yeah.
right? So my thing is always, I don't know. I have to gauge it. What happened? What was going on in our marriage? And there's a lot to lose, right? There's a lot to lose. And we build a life together. So I'm going to say it's a little case by case. I'm just saying, I don't know if one time is worth throwing it all away. That's just my opinion. Dr. Mohn, I guess you feel like one time we done?
Well, listen, my husband might be listening to this, and I don't even want him to even get no ideas. No, I'm just joking. But no,
Dr.
I
Mohn
agree.
said you out of here. No,
I agree. You know, if you're in a marriage, for better or for worse, you know what that for worse is. Cheating is in the mix. So what do you do? So I agree with you, Monique. I do. One time, I don't know. I still got to hear. I'm gonna need to know what that consisted of. But I agree with you.
Right. Now again, that's I don't know, with some weight to it. Like, now let's really look at what happened, right? Because if we were good and there was no problem and you just kind of did it because you got tempted, I might need, okay, how were you tempted to do so? But anyway, again, so if you decide to leave because it's been a repeat offense, I want you to look at this. You do not deserve to be abused, okay, to be taken advantage of. If this is going on multiple times, have you forgiven and they do it again, and it's not changing, you need to ask yourself, is this what you should be getting? Okay. You need to ask yourself, what would be better for you? How can you avoid this? If financially you feel like you're dependent on that person, you're going to have to look into, the legal system will probably make a decision to where maybe that person will be responsible for giving you some financial protection. So it may not be all on you. So you're probably going to need to consult with an attorney, or if you're not married, then just consult maybe with an accountant to find out what can you do. Or if you have any type of talent, any type of career, you may have to get back to work. Yeah, you might have to if you were not working. If you are a person who you want to leave and you're disabled and you can't do it for yourself, there are many programs out there. What other programs can you use now that can help you to be self-sufficient and not rely on that person as much? Or maybe you got to tell family to kind of step in and help you out just a little bit, not a lot, if it comes to, because I would never want someone to feel like they need to stay in a situation that's kind of abusive because they feel like they only can have that person. Only that person can fix it. So I would say look into other avenues of help. Look into therapy. But if you decide to leave, then I would say just look into preparing your best way to exit in a safe way where you both can be okay. Because neither one of you should be unhappy in a marriage. I don't believe so. Marriage is not meant to be unhappy. It may be some unhappy moments, but it should not be years of unhappiness. That is not what it was intended for. Dr. Mohn, anything else about how to get past staying or leaving, deciding if you should stay or leave?
No, you covered that.
Okay. So I do thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast. We appreciate your support. And before we let you go, let me go and leave you with this. So I'll say this. Getting over a painful experience is much like crossing monkey bars. You have to let go at some point in order to move forward. Thank you for tuning into the Healing Podcast, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.